So anyways, back to healing. I really have no train of thought. Anyways, healing. So last year I did some videos about like healing, being on a healing journey, whatever, because especially at that point in time, I was really trying to figure out like my physical state. I always had issues with hormones and stuff like that, but basically I kind of ignored them. Like they were like the least my like concern of problems because of the environment I was in. But then once I shifted into another environment, like going from my high school environment to my college environment, it was kind of like certain things I still did, but I did think differently. But certain things I still did, like my reaction to stress and like stuff like that, and I physically felt it a lot more. And then it just got progressively worse because I ignored it for so long. So I'm pretty sure, like I'm 98% sure the biggest cause is because how I operated like back then, like in my high school environment, and that kind of added to it. But because of how I deal with stress, I think I caused myself hormone imbalance, and there are just things that constantly happen, and my camera is about to die. Because I'm starting this book, I don't know too much about it. What drew me into it was he was talking about his breakup. So I read like the blurb from it from the last book, so I was like, you know what, at that point in time I'm going to read that book eventually. And I was healing from a lot of things last year, between like my physical health, being fully like not in a relationship, but being like in this weird gray area until whatever happened. Honestly, just a lot. And then what encouraged me further was once I did decide, like, okay, like, because the pressure between like adulting and figuring out like how to transition from like, I don't know, because I feel like in college, if you didn't go away, I feel like you're still kind of learning how to like transition into that more independent state. Not gonna get too into that, not going to, yeah, no. But so I was healing like mostly at the beginning of the year physically because I wanted to work on my energy. So then I had to like heal from like this kind of emotionally distressing type state. And then going into 2025, it was like, okay, now focus like on what I want to do, becoming confident, like more confident, or confident in a very specific area, and then also becoming more independent, like those type of things. So I think that's what drew me into it, because healing, even though at some point I thought like, oh, I was done healing, but quickly learned I don't even think there's an end to healing anymore. I think you go through different phases of healing and what are you healing from and different focuses. So now I'm just like, okay, so I'm healing, whatever. And the book is interesting so far because it talks about like, is basically the philosophy part of yoga and meditation, and y'all know like I'm very into that. I still struggle with meditation even though I took a medication class, but maybe like hearing it from a different perspective will help me get back into it, because there has been so many signs that's been like, girl, you need to like meditate, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know, but it's just something that I personally struggle with. Anyways, so that's why I wanted to read that one. The next book I wanted to read was Cleopatra and Frankenstein. So I know this was a very popular book, but I didn't really get on the wave. The only reason I bought the book is because I actually read some of it in the little blurb thing, and I was actually kind of interested in where it was going, because it was like, oh, they are in New York City. It's like, I think New Year's Eve. I read that blurb like so long ago, but I also feel like it's so different from books I typically read, because it wasn't romance. I don't think it's a thriller. So I'm actually really excited to eventually get to that book. Hopefully that's the next book I get to after reading the healing one. But we'll see how January goes, because I really am trying not to like push myself into perfectionism with reading like how I did last year, and taking a slower approach to reading. And it was more like, I'll read what I'll read, you know what I mean? Because there are some months where I feel like I just can't stop reading, and then other times it's like, yeah, I'm struggling to pick up a book, and it's just what happens. So that's gonna be my next book, hopefully. I already gave my thoughts on the 48 Laws of Power, so I'm not even gonna go back to that. And the Book of Moods. So I'm putting like healing and moods and like stuff like that together, because I'm just very much in a space, like when I made this list, it was kind of like, I know I want to read books that I could learn from, or books that I was curious about in the past. Like I knew like that's how I want to start this year. I am in a healing state. I am in a I want to learn type vibe, because my word of the month is learn. And so that's just the books I chose. I am taking a step back right now from the romance type, and I already planned for like February, but I feel like that's just has to be its own video, because I feel like there was no consistent thought in this video. So that's how you know it's just one of those, like, I'm wearing a bonnet, like my hair was wet anyways, so I was like, you know what, but do I really want to like wait till my hair dries and then I have to push off everything, then I can't write today? And I was like, you know what, no, we are following our plan. The vibe is just showing up right now, and I do want to do a lot more book content this year. I really want my channel to be like more about my hobbies, because I kind of realized like whenever I try to like do the whole like lifestyle thing on here, it just doesn't work out, because then there's just like this pressure that comes from it. And let's be real, I'm a yapper at its core, and with my podcast, I kind of focus it on the part of my thoughts, and that kind of stem from like wanting to improve or work on being like 1% better. But honestly, I kind of just want to have content that's just about like being, you know, and maybe they will have lessons to it, maybe they won't. But if you find this type of video interesting, like the whole yapper type vibe, because I really don't shut up, but yeah, that's just, I promise you, I would hopefully look more dressed up. But today is just a comfort day. I did my hair today. It was deep conditioning, like hair wash type day. I could not even fathom doing anything else. It is comfort day, like the hoodie vibe type sweatpants. I don't know, it's like I want to do the two out of 3 rule that I saw, that's like either getting dressed and doing your makeup, hair and makeup, but cozy clothes. And I do think that's something that's gonna be like, if I do have a vlog style type video, I even am thinking of one that's like getting back on track after low energy. Because like I said, energy crashes are so real for me, and I hate it, because it's like I try to figure out like what is the reason. If it's like, is it like not, is it my hormones? Is it me not eating properly? Is it me not getting enough sleep? Is it a combination of all those things? And then when I try to fix those things, it's like, I don't know, I get so burnt out trying to even figure out like the things I have to do and want to do, but that's neither here or there. So I hope you enjoyed this yapping type content. We're gonna try to edit it right now because technically I was not supposed to film today. I was supposed to film yesterday, but the vibe is, the problem was I thought I was doing something different. Then I decided, you know what, let's just follow our plan. And this is why you're supposed to be decisive. So yeah, anyways, that's all for today. Have a good day, evening, or night. Also, if anyone has any like book recommendations that I can kind of add to this list, I can't promise I'll actually read it, but honestly I would love to hear more book opinions and like bookish type things. I feel like, I don't know, I want to get like, I want to show more of my creative practices. I saw a girl like coloring on here and it was such a comfort, like slow down type energy, and I loved it. I loved it. But that's all for today. Have a good day, evening, or night. And be sure to check out my other content. Like if you're into like the more of the personal development stuff, you would probably enjoy my podcast. If you're like more into the emotional stuff, my blog has the perfect balance of like emotional and like personal development type things. So shameless self promo, but I am sponsoring myself. So yeah, that is all. Bye.